Good evening, everyone. My name is, once again, Charlkesha Rahming. Now, this is just a brief summary of what we'll be discussing this evening. I'll go through my aim, then I'll touch on a bit of background research regarding potcakes, then I'll discuss what I did and my results, as well as the conclusion that I got from all of this. Now, before we get into the main meat of what it is that I'm discussing, what exactly do you see when you see this dog here? Meet Amigo. Some people would say that they see a nuisance that does unthinkable things on their lawn or on their flower garden. Some people would say that they see a companion. Some people would say that they see someone that can protect their livestock as well as their property. But again, none of these things really discuss the true essence and fabrication of the Bahamian potcake, but they mainly speak to the characteristics as well as the physical upkeep of the dog itself. Now a bit of background information. It was Charles Darwin, one of the greatest philosophers of our time, that spoke about the morphology of the dog itself and decided that there wasn't just one main ancestor or progenitor of the domestic dog, which is Canis familiaris, but that there had to be more than one ancestor. It was Robert K. Wayne who decided to take on that research and dispel this myth and found one main progenitor, which was the gray wolf, Canis lupus. And most of the studies regarding dogs and potcakes, respectively, have mainly been based out of the US until recently. But how does this relate to the Bahamas? Well, we all know about what a potcake is. We've seen many, as mentioned before. And a potcake is really just defined as a dog of mixed ancestry or heredity. It is considered one of our true Bahamian icons and has even been given the official name of Royal Bahamian Potcake. And with each breed comes a series of genetic characteristics. And the more breeds that intermingle, the less potent these breeds are seen, as well as their genetic characteristics. Therefore, you see an intermingling of characteristics that may be unlikely to a certain breed. And my study was to decipher the ancestry of the Royal Bahamian Potcake in Marsh Harbour, Abaco. How I did that was, well, I traveled to Abaco. I photo ID'd 10 dogs, as well as I looked at the sex of each dog, as well as the age. And I collected the cheek cells of the dogs, which was the least invasive method when it comes to retrieving DNA. From there, I traveled back to Nassau, activated the kits, and shipped them off to Mars Veterinary in Colorado. The DNA testing kit that I used was the Wisdom Panel 2.0. This is how it looks, very similar to a human DNA testing kit. And you can see at the very top that it has 2 DNA cheek swabs, as well as a drying insert and instructions, as well as a mailing label to ship the kits off. And from these 10 dogs, my results found that there were 23 breeds successfully identified. But what does this mean? Well, from the 23 breeds, the American Staffordshire Terrier was found 3 times only. The Whippet found twice, which is 20%, and the Boxer found twice as well. All other breeds, which would be the other 20 breeds, were only found once in each dog. But what do they look like? I feel like in this presentation, you really don't get an appreciation of what these dogs are mixed with until you get a visual representation. So let's meet at least 5 of these dogs. This is Dancer. This is dog 1, who is mixed with an American Bulldog, a Labrador Retriever, as well as a Pembroke Welsh Corgi. Notice the coat as well as the markings on the dog, as well as the brown nose. This is King, dog number 5. As you can see, he is mixed with an Australian cattle dog, as well as a Belgian Tervuren and a Boxer mix. Freckles, dog number 7, is mixed with Bulldog, as well as English Cocker Spaniel and Glen of Imaal Terrier. Gigi is mixed with the Chinese Shar-Pei, the English Springer Spaniel, and the German Shepherd White Swiss Shepherd mix. And the most mixed dog found in this study was Evie. From Evie, we get the American Staffordshire Terrier, the Bichon Frise, the French Bulldog, and the Whippet. After seeing these pictures, I really got interested as to where these breeds actually originated from, especially given our history as the Bahamas, as well as our geographical location. It's interesting to think about where these breeds actually came from. And from my research, I found that Europe had the highest percentage of all 23 breeds, the lowest being South America and Canada, respectively. After identifying the ancestral background of the 10 dogs, 321 DNA markers were analyzed, but they only were able to date back to 3 generations. This is an important factor because some dogs in this study were so mixed that the laboratory itself couldn't identify, so they just classified their ancestral background in some portions as mixed breed. Now, dogs, each dog has 2 sets of DNA attached to it, the mother and father. And from that, they have their own ancestral traits and characteristics that show that no 2 dogs are definitely alike, not even siblings. Another ironic fact that I found out when I looked at the results of the dogs being so mixed, I compared it to breed barriers. Being an archipelagic nation, most of our islands and keys are surrounded by water. But nonetheless, we still got 23 breeds, unexpectedly. This also dispels the idea of interbreeding or breeding in between breeds. And as you saw from the results, the American Staffordshire Terrier was the most dominant throughout the 10 dogs, but that name is also identified as a pit bull, which is also a misnomer because the pit bull is actually a set of breeds and not just one breed itself. Most people, when they think of a pit bull, they think of just a particular look, a particular color, but that's not true. There's been at least 10 breeds that have been combined to make pit bulls that have combined guard dogs as well as terriers. An unusual fact that I found upon my study was the compliance of the dogs. The unique practices of the Abaco shelter, the shelter that I went to study these dogs, was that they never believed in caging their dogs, but that all dogs within a certain plot should run free. This also gave rise to a lot of breeding as well. But most of them were very friendly, although many of them would be pit bulls as well that I was exposed to. But one of the most important points I found throughout my study was that the Potcake, isn't just significant to us, but most of these dogs are relative worldwide. The Royal Bahamian Potcake is a very diverse species, which most people don't really get to appreciate. Most people, when they see a dog, they just think that there's a certain amount of breeds attached to it, but they don't really give attention to where it's needed. Over the past decade or two, a lot of rebranding and associations have been made in hopes of bringing change to treatment as well as overall upkeep of these dogs, because they are truly one of our Bahamian icons although not necessarily related to us completely. These are my acknowledgments, my references. Are there any questions?